So hi, this is Adabara, Partner Technical Leader for UK Partners at Databricks. We're excited to bring another installment of the Partner Champions series. And today we have with us Omar from Manuka. Manuka is a Databricks partner. So we'll get straight into it. So Omar, for people who don't know you,
Yeah.
who are you and what you do at Manuka.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a principal data and AI architect at Manuka. But before this, I spent 8 years consulting as a data engineer,
Mhm.
which is sort of where I picked up Databricks. But now my role is really focusing on the end-to-end solution. So that's from pre-sales, making sure the design for Databricks solutions, whether that's platform, AI, engineering, are meeting our clients' needs. And then that goes all the way through to sort of designing the sprints, um, what are the technical gates that we have to go through, and then finally some delivery as well. So my role now encompasses sort of every part of that. But
Okay.
through my journey as a data engineer, I've picked up a lot of different skills along the way.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Manuka, right? Manuka describes itself as the Databricks people.
Mhm.
Um, So just want to understand from a practice perspective, like what is Manuka's focus on, or what sort of customers or problems are you typically engaged with? Is it like purely data breaks and so on?
Yeah, so our focus is sort of building AI in Databricks. That's our tagline.
Mhm.
Um, and we really go in with the approach that AI is sort of everywhere now. It's this all-encompassing concept. But we think that sometimes it fails to deliver. You start with a POC and maybe that leads to nowhere. And our real like kind of our driver is that we need to think about the value, and our customers always need to think about the value. There's no point just building an AI POC for its sake, or to say that it's interesting. And I know that a lot of tech teams are really interested in taking that further. But in order to get the to the production stage and really generate value, and for it to gain exposure, you need to have people along the journey that way.
Yeah.
So all of the stakeholders understand the vision, what problem is it solving, and how much can that be in terms of efficiency savings or a value generation. That's how we tend to look at it. We always try and start with like a workshop to uncover the value. Some clients do that already and have their own value, and that's they're almost a step ahead. But often we need to start with what are those key use cases that you're looking to solve. I don't think we have like a typical kind of customer. We've done previously a lot of work in the public sector and with
Okay.
transport.
Mhm.
Um, and those are sort of clients that are from the old world of Manuka before we became like a pure Databricks specialist.
Yeah.
But right at this time, we are pure Databricks a partner, and only look to do Databricks work.
Fantastic. Awesome. Um, so Omar, but you individually are
Mhm.
a Databricks champion, right? A
Yeah,
Databricks partner champion.
yeah.
So what does being a champion, what does that actually mean, to you as an individual or to a professional, right? It's good to understand your perspective. And I don't know, does it change what you do at Manuka or your
Oh yeah,
responsibilities?
I think it definitely does change what I do at Manuka. I think from a personal perspective, it means quite a lot to me. I think being an expert, and I think the champion sort of title gives you that sort of credibility. Uh, Sometimes my friends take the mickey a little bit because champion is an interesting word to describe like an expert, right? It's very like sports related. So I find that it is a funny moniker in some extents, but like I take it quite seriously, but especially from a professional perspective, because it means that one, there's a lot of responsibility to stay on top of um, all the features that are coming out in Databricks,
Yeah.
understand what a client needs and how that maps to features that are coming out or have just been released or really meet the needs. And then internally as well, I'm looked at for a lot of guidance. We have developers going from just your typical data engineers or cloud engineers all the way up
Mhm.
to sort of principal AI um, engineers as well. But they don't always have the Databricks experience specifically needed to meet a customer's needs. They might be really, um, technically adept to neural networks or building using Terraform in AWS. But that Databricks layer is
Yeah.
so important across all of those different things. So I think that's where I add the value. That's why it's important to be a champion, and all of the different calls that are part of um, the program and the suite of sort of tools and available data that we get as a champion is really important for that as well.
Okay, awesome. Um, so as a data and AI professional, right? I mean, in that data and AI world,
Mhm.
there are different tools, there are different vendors, right? Databricks is one of them. There are others.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see how, I mean, to become a Databricks champion, there's a lot of investment, right, in terms of
Yeah.
knowledge and so on and so forth, enablement, right? So I'm just wondering, what drew you to the Databricks platform as one that you
Mm.
wanted to, specialize in? I don't know, you might have other platforms that you are a champion as well or not, I don't know, but like what drew you to the data intelligence platform of Databricks?
Yeah, I think I'd love to say that it was all of my own volition, and but as a more junior data engineer, I was at a consultancy. You kind of go where the projects are,
Yeah.
and in 2022, so sort of just coming out of COVID, I was put on a new project at a life sciences company,
Yeah.
and my delivery lead at the time, the people that were sort of talking to the company and the client and architecting the solution said, "Hey, we think Databricks is the tool for this."
Mhm.
They were trying to do drug discovery. They were trying to build this predictive model to help investigate new gene targets, and they said, "Look, Databricks will take you end to end." Ingestion of these data sources from all these open APIs and internal data from clinical trials. We can ingest it, we can transform it, we can process it, and you can predict off the back of it. The integrated ML flow, you'll have that whole lineage and so on. And I think that drew me to Databricks in and of itself is okay, this platform has all of these different components. Individually, there's open source components, but Databricks is really the foundation of how those things are put together. Um, and because I was on that project for 2 years, I had the ability to take a full end-to-end project from platform delivery, data engineering, ingestion, to ML, to model serving, all the way through to CI/CD and so on in that one project over the span of about 2 years. And that meant that I was able to grow alongside my understanding of Databricks and all of these different components. And I think that really helped like shape the champion's journey because it just felt like a natural progression at the time.
Okay, cool. And in terms of becoming a champion, right? There are
Mhm.
different prerequisites. I don't know, there's certain things like, technical knowledge and so on
Yeah,
and so forth. But like becoming that journey of becoming a champion, like in
yeah.
your view, like what does it take, right? Is it just technical expertise, or are there certain things or misconceptions that people might think, oh, I need to do this to become a champion, but maybe that's not really important. So just understanding.
Yeah, yeah. I think obviously the certifications are a step. Like I did the data engineering uh, associate and professional, but that was very early on, and anyone can sort of do those certifications. You don't need um, that much hands-on Databricks experience to become to get the certifications. And I think that's where the distinguishment is as a champion is, you need to have some hands-on technical experience of a project and really go through, some of the issues and some of the real unlockers of the Databricks platform to really understand the platform and what it can do and sometimes what it can't do or what it's trying to do.
Mhm.
So I think from a champion's perspective, you also need to, as you say, invest the time into understanding those features, joining those calls. Sometimes it's not easy with client commitments, but when you can, at least get the notes or watch the video recording or connect to the people that may have been running the session, whether it's those SMEs within Databricks on whether it's generative AI now or Unity Catalog, being able to have those connections, because it's also really hard to have all of that breadth of experience. You don't need to know everything, but
Yeah.
what as a champion, you are expected to sort of have those links so that if you need to solve that problem, you can do that in a quicker way.
Cool. Thank you. So you mentioned earlier that Manuka, you specialize in AI
Yeah,
projects on
yeah,
Databricks. Okay. So then if you think about just from a trends perspective, right, the sort of customers that you work with,
yeah.
what sort of problem statement or what sort of problems are they facing for them to come to you to then build an AI solution? I'm just trying to understand what problems you're solving for
Yeah, yeah.
customers.
So I think at the moment it's a lot of, we're not expected to improve our headcount internally. We're not, this, let's say, for example, this marketing team is only going to be 5 people. We're never going to increase the size of our team. However, we are looked at to optimize because AI is this sort of feature that is, inherently supposed to increase productivity. And I think a lot of clients are sort of looking at us and saying, okay, we have the Databricks platform, or maybe we don't yet.
Yeah.
We need to increase our productivity, whether that's in content generation or um, manual processes that are taking us a lot longer because we need subject matter expertise to be able to read this document and understand it and then write up a report and so on. So a lot of
Yeah.
those, a lot of the clients are coming to us and saying, look, we want to improve this by X amount or be 10% more efficient or get through more of these manual tasks. So we're seeing that a lot in the insurance industry, actually, which is inherently quite a manual um, area with a lot of subject matter expertise.
Mhm.
And we see that they're sort of coming to us and say, look, we have all these policy documents, we have this SME, we know how we want to process these documents or understand these policies, but we want to be able to do it quicker so that rather than having a junior review everything, then have to go to a senior, let's say underwriter, for example, what we can do is we can almost streamline that process. All they have to do is review, say, oh yeah, this is this, know that they have empirical evidence of where that information came from or where that decision came from, and sign off on it. So those are some of the examples of kind of challenges from an AI space that we're at Manuka are facing.
Okay, cool. Because as I was looking at your website, right, I see that
Mhm.
one of the products that you built is like AI underwriters sort of assistants or something like that.
Yes, yes.
So is this how do you typically like build solutions that different customers can use, or do you do like the one-to-one kind of bespoke consultancy approach that
Yeah, it's actually it's a bit of both. I think we listen to what a client needs, and sometimes something like an underwriter's assistant is applicable to loads of different insurance industries. And
yeah,
if we think that there is a solution that meets an industry-wide need, we're similar to Databricks, right? If they have their accelerators or their brick builders for a
yeah,
specific industry, we're not adverse to sort of retaining some of that IP and saying like, look, we can speed up this process. However, like sometimes there are very particular problems that a client might have that we need to bespoke a little bit more. But
yeah.
ultimately, a lot of the time, we try. In our previous world, we were very sort of modular, Terraform heavy. Like we like components and different parts that you can split apart and reuse. We love the reusability. So
Yeah.
if we can do that with our Databricks solutions, it means that we can apply them to different industries and use cases within an industry.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks. And maybe bringing it more sort of architecturally now. I
Mm.
don't know, on the Databricks platform, in terms of the AI products, right? We had like recent things like Agent Bricks, but before
Yeah,
that, we had the Mosaic Mosaic AI where you build everything yourself and so on and so forth. But
yeah.
I'm just wondering, in the sort of, when you're working on a solution or a delivery, are there any specific components that you find yourself using or architecting? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think obviously the Agent Bricks is been a it's been an upward trajectory on how it's been in terms of maturity and what it actually can do. So when it first came out sort of last year, we saw that it was really good at the sort of um, document assistance or knowledge assistance, but it was all quite black box and still quite abstracted away. And as sort of developers, you kind of want a bit of more control over what you're doing and what you're producing, how it goes through the sort of CI/CD process and so on, so that you can test on different levels. Um,
mhm.
so we did start with the Mosaic AI framework because if you can do it yourself, you have a bit more control over it. So Agent Bricks is obviously um, gained maturity, and now you're sort of able to do a lot more in the platform across different use cases, building your own agents, etc. Um, whereas previously it was very much you need to bespoke it with your own code, your development, your team, and I think we pride ourselves in sort of that side of things, which is where from an architectural perspective, we were like, okay, let's use the Mosaic AI framework, let's use the Databricks agents, Python library, and do it all sort of very code based, so we can commit it and continue to iterate, and it's all version controlled. But I think now, as Agent Bricks develops, we need to start taking a look at, okay, what can we do in Agent Bricks that simplifies that solution, um, and how can we, from a explainability perspective, say, we have done this in Agent Bricks. This has been effective. You can do it in dev, test, and prod. And how do you handle that promotion process? There's things that are developing on the Databricks side that we need to be on top of. But I think our architectural stance is almost, if you it should be code-based development, and it should be code-based promotion, so that you are sure of what you're creating in each environment, and there's no evidence of something that could interfere with that. Um, so we like that we like that Databricks gives you that flexibility to kind of do both.
Yeah.
If you're not particularly code savvy, or able to develop, I mean, obviously there's AI code assistants now, Genie Code, etc.
Mhm.
But the technical teams are still able to develop in their way with their processes, their deployment structure, and we like that from a we're quite a technical house, so we quite like being able to do that from a Databricks perspective.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. So, as a senior level, data and AI professional, right? I'm sure you've seen a lot of different projects and architectures and customers on Databricks.
Yeah.
I just want to get your perspective of, in your experience, right? Are there certain things that like when you want to build a solution on Databricks, right? If you follow this pattern or this methodology or this best practice, then you're
Yeah.
likely to set yourself up for success, right? I just wonder what are those lessons or best practice, I should say, that people should take into account when building projects with Databricks.
Yeah, I think with Databricks specifically, I think something that we see repeatedly missing is a real focus on data quality and what actually a data product is. So that's from a data end-to-end life cycle of going through the Medallion architecture. Different clients have different interpretations of what the Medallion architecture can look like. You might have bronze being raw data in Delta, but you might have bronze. Some people define bronze as just the raw files themselves. Um, you might have an additional layer after gold, which might be like a platinum layer.
Mm,
So all of these different ways of architecting your data.
yeah.
But something that is still missing sometimes across that layer is real understanding of data quality and
Mhm.
how to address when your data is incorrect. Um, So I think one of the big things that we try and drill into our clients and our project's lifecycle is, where does data quality sit in that? What framework is most applicable for a client's team? Whether, who's going to be able to maintain that once we've left the project, or whether we're managing it. Um, You could go overkill on the Databricks, data quality. You could have expectations in your pipelines. You could have scheduled data quality checks. You could have lakehouse monitoring. Uh, you could have YAML files that define all of your rules. But if someone at the end of the day can't read them or doesn't understand um, how to utilize them or add to them or change them, um, then it's not particularly useful for anyone.
Yeah.
So we find that being taking your stakeholders in through the journey of data quality. How has your data been improved? Where have we made the changes? Is there we like the open data contract standards, which is essentially agreement between stakeholders or end users of a data product or whether that's a table, an AI product, that you're always going to get this information, these fields, these columns, this level of data quality in terms of, you're not going to be missing 60% of your data with null values. You're always going to have this amount. So that the end user understands what they're going to get. And then also feeding that through the pipeline of data engineers sort of know what they need to aspire to in terms of building their pipelines. So data quality is a big one. We think that's really important at Manuka because that also, now that data is more important than ever in empowering AI and business decisions.
Yeah.
It's even more it's more important that your data is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. So stepping back now to the the partnership,
Mhm.
Manuka is say relatively new partner. By that I mean like
Yeah.
been a partner like since the last year. I think it's
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
about to a year now.
Yeah.
But I mean where I see Manuka in Databricks is quite prominent, right? I mean going from being a new partner to where Manuka is today, right? I think you've covered a lot of ground in
Yeah.
there, and you have a number of champions already, and so on and so forth. But my question is, how have you guys sort of approached that partnership, right? I mean, there might be other partners or people who want to join the partnership starting
Yeah.
from scratch, right? And sometimes they might not know how to, stand out, right? In the
Mm.
way you guys have done it. So I don't know, are there any sort of things that you guys have done to,
Yeah, I think I mean I can't take all the credit. Liam is our partner manager, and he's been very he's done this at his previous role working as a Databricks partner in a different consultancy, and he sort of found our niche alongside Gareth, our CEO, and we saw that there was sort of a gap, a little bit of a gap in terms of in the UK, especially. Um, where does AI fit in with Databricks? It's obviously a very evolving space, and how can we look to penetrate it? And a lot of that is through value generation, use cases, etc. But I think from my perspective is um, being a champion, networking, really putting yourself out there in terms of um, I think from a sponsorship perspective and also like attending events.
yeah,
We've been on a few different panels. We've helped run sort of innovation days, etc.
yeah,
We know that obviously Databricks are a very successful and popular business, and there is always a bit of a strain on technical individuals in terms of what they can cover across all of their client base.
yeah,
Um, and our job as partners is to sort of enable that and continue to work seamlessly with Databricks. So I think from a Manuka's perspective, we've obviously done that to a very rapid extent of
yeah,
putting ourselves really out there, going to these events, talking, using case studies and specific industries to try and tackle that, whether that's public sector or transport. Um, yeah, I think that's been our approach. From a personal perspective, it's really nice to really like integrate maybe a bit more from a networking perspective with the
yeah.
different champions or with partners or the solutions architects from a Databricks side. And I think that's really important. The technical networking and then also the sort of account networking as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Now for people who are not champions, right, but are
Mm.
thinking about becoming champions one day, maybe people
Yeah,
just at the beginning of their Databricks journey.
yeah.
Um, like what's like a good way to go about it, right? Is it something where you start with the certifications, or
Yeah.
you go on these YouTube channels to go and learn, or you go to this other resource, or you try and get real world experience? Like, how
Yeah.
what would be your advice as an existing champion, someone thinking about becoming a champion? Like, how should they go about it?
I see a lot of my experience of other sort of consultants or engineers where they're looking to become a champion, but often it's a result of what sort of project you're on. You don't always have that control, especially as at not a senior level, which sort of projects you end up on. If you're not in a Databricks pure play, for example, you might be on a different tech stack and so on.
Mhm.
But you can always do the certifications, and as I said before, like you don't need Databricks experience to uh, to be good at taking tests almost.
Yeah.
My opinion is that the Databricks free edition is now your friend. Obviously, that came out sort of in the last year, where you're able to just sign up and have access to some compute, but almost all of the Databricks features that you would be using on a client site. So there's no reason why, even if you're not on a Databricks project, you can't get hands-on experience building your own pipelines, dashboards, Genie spaces, um, data science models, etc., using the Databricks free edition. That's a way to sort of get some hands-on experience ahead of the fact that you won't be able to necessarily always control which sort of project you're on with your company.
Cool. Thank you. So now we're going to sort of wind it down now with what I
Okay.
call some quick fire questions, right? Just one or two one or two sentences or even one or two words, nothing detailed.
Yeah.
Is First of all, in Databricks right now, obviously Databricks moves really quickly, featured,
Yeah.
right? But is there one feature or capability in Databricks now that has just come out or has recently come out that I don't know that you're most excited about? And you can go into
Yeah.
detail actually if you want,
Yeah.
but just
No, it's
answer
fine.
it
I
the way you
think
want.
I have quite a few answers. I think I'll go with Databricks apps because I think that its connectivity to all the different parts of Databricks, whether that's lake based, which has sort of just gone GA, or agents that you've built, or just traditional SQL warehousing. Databricks apps, especially from a partner perspective, has been a really powerful way of getting stakeholders to sort of understand what Databricks can do. From it's obviously not as um, developed as a usual sort of full stack, but it's trending that way in that direction. I think it's going to be
Mhm.
really powerful moving forward, and that alongside the whole Databricks ecosystem is really interesting and a really cool space to be. And we're trying different ways of generating apps all the time within Manuka. So we're excited to see where that space goes moving forward.
Fantastic. Great. And I don't know if you have an opinion on one feature in Databricks that you think is the most underrated. I don't know, maybe a
Mm.
lot of people don't use it from what you see, or yeah.
Yeah, underrated. I probably would say like agent evaluation. We used it on our one of our more recent projects, well, almost for the first time really with MLflow 3 like coming out last year, and um, the LLM as a judge functionality. Like
Yeah.
you might not always get access to SME time to say, okay, this is the gold standard for um, reviewing what an agent or a chatbot spits out. So having agent evaluation, being able to, look at an answer, compare it to something where you said, okay, like this, we know this is what's right. Can you compare? Give us some scores, give us some confidence. We love the agent evaluation. We think it's going to become a really important part of the model lifecycle, the agent lifecycle within Databricks. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's
that's
actually I think you're the first person to mention that. But yeah, from my experience, it saves a lot of time. Like if you were
yeah,
going to manually evaluate your Gen AI solution, right? There's a lot of different things that you need to be checking and tuning. But yeah,
yeah.
those judges, right? They can help to speed things up quite a bit. So no, good answer. Now, for people also, trying to improve their Databricks enablement, their skills, right? There are a lot of different sources, right?
Mhm.
We've got the Partner Academy, so many different resources, right? So I don't know, again, in
Yeah,
your view, like if there was one resource someone could go to develop their Databricks expertise and skills, like which one would
yeah.
you suggest?
I really like the Big Book of MLOps. So
Mhm.
it's a Databricks ebook resource that you can download off their website. I think you need to just put in your sort of company email and your job description, and you get access to the PDF. But it's a
Okay.
really good. I think they updated it fairly recently, and I'm sure it'll go through another round of updating, but the volume two edition of the Big Book of MLOps has really good architectural diagrams on how you do MLOps, LLM ops through dev tests, pre-prod and production. What does that look like? I love the diagrams in there. We kind of use them all the time. We base a lot of our diagrams off it as well in terms of how you promote. um, read give read access from Unity Catalog to production data in dev so that you can train your models and then promote the code throughout the environments. So I love that book. I think it's really, really useful. There's also a good Databricks apps book guide that's come out as well. How it integrates with Lakebase. Both of those books are really good and just available for free on the Databricks website.
Awesome. And the final question, again, because Databricks evolves really fast, things change all the
Yeah.
time. Like, what's your advice to people on staying up to date with changes on Databricks? I don't know, for a champion, you probably have more access than other people who are not champions.
Yeah.
But like, how would you?
I think there's a few good resources. Actually, LinkedIn is like a
Yeah.
really powerful resource, and that's not just from the Databricks official um, uh, like LinkedIn page. If you follow a couple of SMEs or solutions architects, or you'll see that they are constantly posting about what new features are coming out. There's another consultant, I believe his name is Alex Cole, who's produced a Databricks features. He's also a champion, a Databricks features website,
Okay.
which that basically scrapes the Databricks documentation for new features and displays it in a nice UI, like a new website.
Okay.
So I find that really useful as well for when we're looking at, okay, what's coming out, what has come out, what's gone GA, etc. That's a really useful website. Happy to
Fantastic.
like give you the link so you can put it in wherever. But yeah, that's a good one.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you. Yeah, that brings us to the end of the conversation. Some really good, strong points there. Really nice nuggets that I think a lot of people will find very valuable. Not
I
just,
hope so. Yeah.
yeah, 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 not just aspiring champions, but also other people who are, trying to become Databricks partners as well. So thank you very much, Omar. Really,
You're very
really
welcome.
insightful. Thank you.
Thank you.